Hello, good morning. This recording is for the people that wanted to join the webinar and couldn't. And I say, I will record the webinar, but I completely forgot recording it. So I'm doing again what I explained in the webinar with the hope that it's helpful for you. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you what I have to share with you. Give me a second. It's here. So I hope you can see it. First thing, it was just introduce myself for the people that doesn't know me. My name is Arantxa. I am a qualified maths teacher. I qualified in 2004, and I tutor A-level maths. So I have a series of courses for year 12 and 13 to help students to get the best grades that they can. And I started tutoring maths when I was doing my levels, so more than 30 years ago. I'm going to tell you a few strategies that can help you from day zero. So from the beginning, you can start to work on those strategies now. They are going to be helpful for year 13 students that have the exams a few months away, but for year 12 students as well, because you are going to be doing mocks at the school and exams at the school, and you want to get them well. Because you're going to apply to university with the predicted grades that your school gives you, so you want to do well from the very beginning. So I'm going to share with you some strategies, some ideas that you can practice from now, and some ideas for the actual exams. And again, you can practice those ideas for the exams, for the actual exams, or for the mocks, yeah, or other exams that you do at the school. This is going to be more useful for maths. I don't know to what extent you can use. There are some things that you can use for any other exam, but it's going to be slightly different. So the first thing would be understanding the structure of the exam. So know what papers you have, when you have them, how long they last, how many marks, things like that. So if you don't know, you have 3 papers. These are the dates for 2024. And they're going to be afternoon exams, and this is going to be the same for any exam board. The structure is going to change slightly, not the structure, what you have in each paper. So for example, if you have edexam, the first and second paper are going to be pure maths. The third paper is going to be applied, half mechanics, half statistics. If you have AQA, the first one is pure, second one pure and mechanics, and the third one pure and statistics. So you have to know that for your exam board. The weight is going to be the same, so 2/3 is going to be pure, 1/3 is going to be applied, and from the applied, half mechanics, half statistics. Each paper is going to be 100 marks, and each paper is going to be 2 hours long. And you are allowed to use the calculator in each paper and the formula booklet. I mentioned that if you see a paper that says non-calculator and is an A-level maths paper, that means it's an old paper. So before 2017, when the specification changed, you had one non-calculator paper. Now, it's not the case anymore. You are allowed to use the calculator in each paper. And then you have a formula booklet. It's slightly different. So Edexcel has one single formula booklet with all the formulae and the statistics table. AQA have 2 different versions, one without the statistics tables and one with further maths and statistics tables. Either way, you're going to find all the information that you need for the actual exam in them. Yeah. I don't know if you are familiar with the front page. I know it sounds silly. It's something that we write the name and just we move on. But I would really read it, and I would read it before your exams, just to be familiar with what it says. But then again, in the exam, just in case something has changed. It hasn't changed in years, but just in case. And there are things that you should be aware of, where you have to write your answer, that you have to write in a black pen, that you can use pencil for your graphs, or that you have to round to 3 significant figures if nothing else is said in the question, like Edexcel says. Yeah. So those are things that you should at least have an idea. In the AQ one, I think they have something very helpful that is straight away telling you how many questions you have in the paper. I think that's helpful. Next thing you can do is to get familiar with the formula booklet and the calculator well in advance. So in the formula booklet, you have a series of formulae and statistics tables. You have first the AS formulae, pure mechanical statistics, and then the A-level formulae, and then the statistics tables. I think in the exam, when you're doing the exam, you really don't want to be flipping pages forward and backward, trying to find a formula that you don't even know if it's there. So my recommendation is you have these booklets at school, you have them, if not, you have them online. They are PDFs. You can just search on Google for Excel, A-level math, formula booklet, and you will find it. And it's important that you know what is in there and more or less what it is. Yeah. So if it's in the A-level section, or the AS section, but not exactly what page it is, but more or less where it is. And the calculator. Your calculator has lots of functions that maybe you are not aware of and are going to help you. You are allowed to use it, use it. You have to show some working out, show it. But use the calculator to be sure that you are doing that working out well. Yeah. If you have to rationalize the denominators when you have a square root, do it with the calculator, but then multiply and divide by what you have to divide, and show some working out, but do it with the calculator. Please don't waste time. Don't risk making mistakes. And you have things like solving quadratic equations, simultaneous equations, or the memory of the calculator is going to be very helpful because you don't want to round until the very end. So put things in the memory so you keep all the decimals, things like that. You have to be familiar with the calculator. So try to investigate a bit. There are lots of videos in YouTube with instructions for any calculator that you may have. And I think it's a helpful thing. Know how to use it and use it. Yeah. One of the things that you can do for now is to practice in exam conditions. You can do that with a whole paper. That's my recommendation, that every now and then you sit down for a couple of hours without distractions and do a whole paper and see how it goes. And if not, you can just do with 1 or 2 questions of your homework, or when you are practicing exam questions on a topic because you have some exams. I would practice in exam conditions. It cannot be that the first time you practice in exam conditions is when you have an exam. Yeah, you really need to train for that, like you would train for, I don't know, for a race. Try to find a quiet place and avoid distractions. We are all used to be working and have a look to our phones every now and then. The phone is beeping, someone is texting, and then you get distracted with something else. I would put the phone in silence and in the other side of the room to avoid temptation. And I would really focus on the time that you are doing the practice. Set a timer, because timers are stressful, or if you have a clock on the wall or a watch that you can be seeing the time, not just when you, like a phone that only when you turn it on you can see the time, but something that you can see constantly the time. It's not that you need to be obsessed with the time, but nearly. Aim for 1 mark per minute. And I will tell you later why, but you have 120 minutes for 100 marks, which means if you do roughly 1 minute, you dedicate 1 minute per mark, you're going to have some spare time, and you will need it because you will need to go back to questions that you don't understand, or you will need, there will be questions that take more than 1 minute per mark, and there will be questions that will take less. And we can do a practice after and we'll see. But it's a good rough approximation. 1 minute, 1 mark. Yeah. One thing that will help you in the exam is to go as less nervous as possible, at least as least nervous as possible. So there are things that you can do before the exams to be less nervous or less anxious. Although I think it's very difficult to avoid completely anxiety or nervousness around an exam. There are things that can help you to be a bit less nervous. One of the things is you are months away for your exams, maybe not school exams, but always there are some time of preparation. The earlier you start to prepare for your exams, the less nervous you are going to be, because you will feel yourself, you will feel that you are more in control. So those last minute revision, when you cram everything in the last few weeks, is stressful, and that will contribute to go to the exam more nervous and more anxious. Yeah. So I would really avoid last minute. I will start to do a revision timetable well in advance and try to follow as best as you can. I think this one is obvious. It's something that your parents are going to be reminding you, and is you have to keep some um, healthy habits. You know what they are, I'm very sure. You need to eat well, you need to sleep well, and you need to have some fresh air activities, and you need some gatherings with your friends. So the closer you are to the exams, the more anxious you're going to get, and maybe you start to sleep less, eat worse, and going out less with friends. And I think there is time during the day to do everything if you organize yourself well. Yeah. So is, as I say, I think your parents are going to be on top of you, trying for you to eat well, to go to bed a reasonable time. But it's something that is going to help you, believe it or not. You are going to be less tired for your exam, more able to focus, and a bit less desperate. So I think it's worth it. If you are struggling with something, the sooner you ask for help, the better. So if you are struggling with a topic, don't leave it for the end, because that topic is not going to be clearer the closer you are to your exams. I think the earlier you ask for help, the better. Could be your teachers, tutor, your friends, but clarify your questions well in advance. Yeah, it will pay off. So don't leave it for. It's a matter of avoiding last minute, I think. Just before the exam, so the night before or the morning before, or very, very close to the exam, I would say check before with your school what you need for your exams. And this applies to math and your other exams. So know well in advance what you need and what you are allowed to bring, like a water bottle. Yeah, I can tell you that in math, you need your calculator and you need a black pen. I would bring a couple of them, and pencil for and rubber for your graphs, maybe. Yeah. And this is something again that is a bit obvious, but please leave plenty of time to travel to your school. You don't want to be late because there are, I don't know, problems with the trains, or you don't want to be running and in the very last minute, because that will increase your anxiety enormously unnecessarily. Yeah, so leave plenty of time to travel. Be sure that you are on time, not 1 hour before. Maybe you don't need that, but with time to not be in this situation of seeing the time close and you are still waiting for the bus or something like that. And the last thing is, don't forget your calculator. I think this is obvious, but you don't know how many students forget the calculator in their maths exam in GCSE and N levels, both of them, and they are students that always bring the calculator to the lessons. It's just sometimes we forget it. So please be with your calculator like if it was your phone. Put it in the bag every time you leave, just in case. Don't leave it on your desk at home in the day of the exam. Yeah. And this is during the exam. So all the things that I have mentioned, I have mentioned before, are things that you can do before the exams. So you can start to do them now. Year 12 students can do them as well. And this is during the exams. I think this series of techniques are going to help you to manage the time well during the exam. So the first one, and I'm going to show you with one example after, is the first thing you have to do is to go through all the paper, and you're going to think, oh no, that's pointless, I want to start straight away. But I promise this is going to help you. Go through all the exam and code the questions. You read the question quickly, roughly. You don't need to understand the whole question and see it. You just identify what the question is about, and if it's something that you find easy, and you know those questions are easy. So if you see a circle question and you know that you have to find the center, the radius, and a point of intersection, you know that's easy. You circle the question, the number of the question, for example. Yeah. If you see a question that you know it could be more difficult, you could struggle a bit, maybe it's more worthy, then you make a different sign for the question, maybe a wiggly thing or a triangle around the number. And if you know that the question is one of those topics that you don't understand well, the questions are very messy or very complicated, and you know they're going to struggle, make a cross. Yeah, so do like, it's what you do is up to you, but do like 3 types of signs on your questions. one, if you understand and you know you are going to do that question, wow, easy. Second, if you know what to do, but you know those questions are messy, long, maybe sometimes complicated. And the third one, if you know those are your bad questions. Yeah. Once you've done that, what you're going to do is to do first all the easy questions, and you're going to do them as quick as possible. Yeah. Because you don't want to waste time in your easy questions. You want the time, every minute that you can save with the easy question is going to go for the difficult questions, yeah, or to check your answers at the end. So what you're going to do when you start a question, yeah, is you're going to allocate 1 minute per mark that we were doing in the practice, yeah, or you should be doing when you practice. So if it's a 4 marks question, just dedicate 4 minutes. You look at the clock, you say is 11:07. I'm going to allocate 4 minutes to this question, so I'm going to stop at 11:11. Yeah. So, and you write in the corner of the question. You work on that question, quick, nice, easy, and you will see that if it's one question that you know, it's going to take less than those 4 minutes. And I'm going to show you when we finish this presentation. And that will give you extra time for other questions. And then you move on into the easy one and to the next easy one until you finish all the easy ones. And then you move into the weekly ones. So the ones that are, you know how to do them, but can be complicated. Why? Because very quickly, you have got already a lot of marks. And that is going to make you feel, okay, this is not going bad. If you start with the difficult ones or you start just in order, you are going to start to struggling with some questions, you're going to start to get nervous, and then you're going to find difficult even the easy ones. Yeah. So this is going to help you to keep calm and to save minutes to use in other ones. When you dedicate, let's say, 4 minutes to a question and you see is 5 minutes past, if you're about to finish, or when you are 4 minutes, let's say 4 minutes, if you think, I'm about to finish, just carry on and finish. If you have got stuck because the question was not as easy as you thought, and you are, I don't know, something went wrong, I would move on into the next easy one. Yeah. So every time the time passes, if you haven't finished, just decide it's a couple of minutes more, then carry on. If not, if you're confused, move on and make a mark in that question and then come back later. Yeah. And the last thing I would say is don't panic when you have only 10-15 minutes left. When you see that you have 10 or 15 minutes left in an exam, you think, I don't know what to do. What do I do? I check my answers. I try another question. You start to move forward and backward. It's really, you can do a lot in 10-15 minutes. And if you are practicing from now, you will see that what I say is true. In 10-15 minutes, you can do between 1 and 3 questions. Yeah. So don't panic thinking you have only 10-15 minutes. It's okay to have 10-15 minutes. It's like 1/8 of the whole exam. So you should be able to do a lot in 10-15 minutes. Yeah. Just relax. I know it's difficult, but just try and carry on. So this is all. This is everything I wanted to tell you. This is my advice. I think the best thing you can do is to put it in practice. From the beginning. So those are techniques that are very easy to implement. You can do a whole paper every now and then. You can do just 1 question or the homework or 2 questions on the homework and get used to the timers and try this technique of seeing the whole paper, code the question, and then go first to the easy ones. And you will see that it works very well. That's my experience. But it's something that you have to test for yourself. I'm going to show you 1 paper. Because I want to show you that idea of seeing all the questions and deciding if the questions are easy or difficult, it really takes nothing. So I was timing myself doing this, and it took me a bit longer than 2 minutes, which means, and I know I'm very familiar with the questions, but it's going to take you, 4 or 5 minutes, no more, and you have 120. And this is going really to help you to start the exam in a very good position, because you know what you have in the exam, you know where the easy questions are. You're going to get those marks very quickly, and this is going to help to feel good. Yeah, and you're not going to start panic. So I'm going to show you a paper. We can see what time is it, we can see is 11:11, and then you can see how long it takes to decide if a question is easy or not. So you can do the practice yourself now at home. You can write a 1 with a circle, or the number of the question. So you have the number of the question. You can do a circle if you understand the question. You can do a wiggly thing if it's something that you have to think about, and you can do a cross if you think it's a difficult question, or wherever you decide to do. Yeah. This is an AS paper, so it should be fine for year 12 and year 13 students. So let me show you the questions. And okay, it's 11:12 now. So let's go into do 11:12. 11:12. Let's see this one. So the first one is a straight line question, another straight line question. They are perpendicular. We have to find the gradient. And once we have the equations of the lines, we have to find the coordinates of the point P. You decide if it's easy or not. It's a GCSE question. I think it's going to be very easy. First question, yeah? Second question, real solution to these equations. I have one equation with a square root, I could square, and an equation to the power of 4 to the power of 2, which will be a quadratic. Doesn't sound too difficult. You decide if it's easy, difficult, or medium. An integral, you have to find an integral here. We need to find the limits, this value when we know the limits of the integration. Yeah, the functions are not difficult. Another one. We have a tree was planted, so it's a modeling question. We know the height, the years. It's a linear model, so it's one of those straight line modeling questions. Are not difficult, but sometimes the reading takes some time to understand. Yeah, you decide. This one. We have a function, we have to differentiate, and we have to see when the curve is increasing, so when the derivative is positive. This one is a triangle. We know some sides, one angle. We need another length, and we need one of the sides. So this is one of those sine rule, cosine rule area questions. This one is, we have one curve, an asymptote, one line. We have to find intersection. So it's reciprocal graph. We have an asymptote. We have another line. We have to find the intersection. Yeah, you know how you feel about it. Binomial expansion and an approximation. These questions are quite easy and quick if you know how to do them. You have the formulas in the formula booklet. And this is a quadratic modeling question. So again, a bit wordy. You decide if you feel maybe it's one of those wiggly things because you know what it is about, but maybe a bit difficult sometimes. A circle. Find the center, find the radius, find the intersection. This could be quite straightforward, I think. This one is a cubic. We have to use factor theorem. Has 2 roots, so we have to find the roots. Yeah. Find a value of k to make it to pass through the origin. So transformations thing. This one is a trigonometric question. We have to prove a trigonometric identity and then solve the equation. This one can be long. So always I would say the trigonometric questions are the ones that you get it straight away, and sometimes you get trying different things and it doesn't work at the beginning. So those can take time despite being easy. And integral. So you have this function, you have to find this area. Yeah, and in fact, they give you the answer for you to check. So integration, this one, what else I have? Exponential. So it's modeling with exponentials. It's just 12 at the very end, so maybe you haven't covered yet. And this one is vectors. So we have 2 vectors, and we have to find one angle between the 2 vectors. This, if you sketch well, could be very quick. And that's it, no? Okay, so, no, a proof question. This one, proof question. Very quick, 4 marks, but sometimes you get it right very quickly. So it's 16 pass. 16 pass, and we started at 12 pass, right? Sorry, I'm passing very quickly. So it took us 4 minutes. So we start at 12, and now it's 11:14. So 16, sorry, 16. So we took 4 minutes out of 120. I think is a good thing. And the last thing I wanted to show you is when I think we all decided that this question is easy. If the question is easy, it's going to take you less than 1 minute per mark. So let me show you this one just quickly. This question is 4 marks. That's going to allocate 4 minutes. So it's 16 pass. So I'm going to wait. Well, I don't know. It's not 16 pass exactly. It's almost 17 because it has been 16 for a while. But let's say that we are going to allocate 4 minutes. So let's going to finish at 20 pass. Yeah. 21 already passed. You write in a corner 21, you look at the clock of your exam hall, and then you do it. Quick. So line L1 is 2x plus 4y minus 3 equals 0. And then L2 is y is mx plus 7. M is a constant, which is the gradient, yeah? And 7 the y-intercept. L1 and L2 are perpendicular. We have to find the gradient of this one. You know, if they are perpendicular, the gradients are going to be negative reciprocal. So then the gradient of this one, I can write the equation this way. So I have 3 minus 2x. I divide by 4, and I have y is 3/4 minus 2/4 x. And now this one is my gradient, the one that is multiplying the x. So the gradient of this line is going to be minus 1/2. I'm just simplifying. So if the gradient of this one is 1/2, the gradient of the other one is going to be negative reciprocal, so 2. And that's the value of m that they're asking me for. Yeah? This is A, easy, quick. B, the lines L1 and L2 meet at point P, find the coordinates of P. So we need to find the intersection between these two lines, and just the x, we don't need even y. So it's the intersection between 2x plus 4y minus 3 equals 0, and y is m, we know is 2, so 2x plus 7. How you solve simultaneous equations is up to you. I'm going to make this here, substitute here, yeah? So I have 2x plus 4 multiplying my y, which is 2x plus 7 minus 3 equals 0, and then I have 2x plus multiplying, so span brackets, 28 minus 3 equals 0. All my x's together is 10x, and then I have 28 minus 3, 25. It goes to the other side, minus 25. So x is going to be minus 2.5. Done. It's 19 pass instead of 21. So we have saved 2 minutes in a 4 marks question. Yeah, this is going to happen in all the questions that you know how to do. So all the easy ones, sometimes they could be longer, but you are going to save minutes in all of them. Yeah, and those minutes are going to be perfect for questions like the trigonometric identities that even if you know how to do them, can take long. Yeah, you can get stuck because you try something and then it doesn't work, and then you try something else. So that's the idea. That's what I wanted to show you. I think this requires practice, many for you to believe me, and I think this is going to help you in the exams. Yeah, and that's all. This is what we cover in the webinar. I hope you use the techniques and you tell me if they work. Yeah, bye bye.